All right. Come to find out that it's really not the board. It was where I had my my braces placed underneath here. So I'm thinking I might do a third one, but then I thought, well, let's just see what happens. I put the shade on here. You know, got it centered with my thumbs here on the outside, and it is just barely over the surface. So if I take a couple of these, I got a couple of free weights, and I took them apart, and if I space them just right, you know, slide them where I need them, I can basically straighten the board out so that it's just below the surface, all along the edge right there. Pretty simple solution. So my blocks now are almost to the end, actually. Let's see where they are here. Probably 6 inches from the end, about right here and right here. And if I bring these weights in there, you can see that I get the results I'm looking for. Let me zoom in on that top a little bit for you. There you can see. So if I take these off, that comes up. When I put them back on, right there, that brings them right just below the surface, which is what I'm looking for. You know, here it's almost flush. So I'll maybe back them off a little bit. There we go. So that's what I need right there. I'm gonna mix up my epoxy and put her together, and then just let it sit just like that. So let's get to it. Okay, I gotta relax a little bit. But what I did do before I took this apart is I traced out a couple circles on the top here of where I'm gonna put my weights. I'd almost forgotten that these lights, which are going to mount to the bottom here like so, they'll be equally spaced. But I've already modified this light. You can see if this were the bottom now, and I set the light on there, that's going to cause a problem, that wire coming through like that. So it's going to go to the center like this and come up this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut my access hole for the wire to come through, and then also cut a bit of a channel here for it to lay down. So let's just say this was the bottom again now. This is going to sit here. Center hole here for the wire to come through. I'm going to have to cut a little bit of a relief in here on the other side to allow this wire to lay flat and then make that turn and come up. So I've got that's a simple thing. I'm going to do it on the drill press real quickly actually. Drill a center hole, about a 1/2 inch center hole, and then also drill a couple of relief holes, you know, parallel to it going in both directions, maybe 1/4 inch deep. So that'll take care of that problem. And then these lights mount with these clips. You know, pretty simple little clip, got a hole in it, put a screw through it, and then clip the light to it. So that's how putting 2 clips on each side. So that'll work out. So I've got to relax a little bit. First things first, take care of this operation while I can get to it. If I were to put this together now, it'd be a much harder thing to do. You know, you could still do it with a hand drill, but I'd much rather do it on the drill press. It'll be cleaner. So let me do that first. Okay, just finished up cutting that little keyway there for my lights. So that's going to work out nice. So you can see that relief it gives me now. Make sure I'm still in the frame here. There we are. So now as the cords go through, now that'll sit nice and flush, and I don't have to worry about that pushing out. And it was very easy to do. It just took me a few minutes. So that's gonna be perfect right there. Be able to get 2 lights in here and push this back maybe a little bit more. That's it. That's all there is to it. All right, now I can get on to gluing this thing up. Okay, I'm going to start out here. This is going to be about eye level. Actually, it's a little higher than eye level. When you mount, when you hang your pool table light, the bottom of the shade is about 32 to 33 inches above the slate, or the felt, I guess. And I kind of did some quick measurements, 30, 32 from here, add an additional 8, and then I looked at the tape, and it was, I'm 6'3", and this was just above my eye line here. So it's going to be, anybody that's shorter than me is going to be looking below this. Obviously, anybody taller is going to be looking a little above it, but generally this is, eye level is from here to here, I would say, somewhere in there. So that's the look you're going to get. Now the reason I capped it off like this is I looked at a few stained glass lights that are made, some wooden ones. Some of them had a straight up vertical up partition here basically, and that's kind of to hide the hooks as they fasten into the light itself here. And then some had a flare coming out in the opposite direction as this. I considered that, but I made a little mock-up piece and put it on there. Didn't really like that. And then some of them had this version here where they just had a kind of a flat frame with a little shadow line, and that appealed to me the best. So that's what I went with. And then I talked about finishing off the bottom here with that hard maple strip. I went so far as to cut a bunch of maple, plane them, thickness them, whatever, and put them on there. And I just didn't like the look. It just didn't look right to me to have that strip down there and then possibly putting one in between this and that. So I decided to forego that and just kind of celebrate this bottom. And let me show you. You can see now in the inside here, you can see where the this black is the epoxy that kind of oozed through. But I was able to get most of it off, I guess. You're not going to see that because these lights will be right here, and they'll be so bright that you'll never see that anyway. So anyway, what I just ended up doing here was just sanding this. This is just sanded now to 150, and like I say, I'm celebrating this joint, I guess I'll put it that way. If you look at it here. So it's nice and flush, and I'm leaving that open so that you can see that joinery. And it looks nice. I like the way it looks. It's going to be a nice light. So I'm looking forward to getting the electrical in it and get it up and running. So we'll take a look at that after I get it all finished and everything. I guess maybe I should show you this. This is just basically 2-inch boards, mitered and then screwed to the top. Because of the epoxy, there was really no way for me to glue it, so I screwed it into the top, and then the electrical will come out here, and I'll be able to hide that in here. I may make another piece to put over that as well. I don't know. We'll see. But the electrical actually has to run up to the light or the connection up in the ceiling. So there's really no need to hide that anyway, because the cord will just be coming down in here. I'll actually be hiding the electrical inside now that I think about it. But it gives you a chance to put some hooks out here and kind of hide them, you know, as you string up the chain to hang it from the ceiling. So, all right, thanks again. Well, there it is, lighting up the pool table, and that's the only light I have on at the moment. Let me turn the rest of these lights on here. And now you can see the light itself, hopefully. Come over here. So it worked out pretty nice. The one thing I will show you here eventually is the way that I've got that hung up there. You can see the chains going up. And I ended up 32 inches from the tabletop. You'll have to ignore my mess in the background there. So that worked out really nice. So 32 inches from here to the top. And you can see with them when I had the lights off that everything lit up very well. But the one thing I did find out, and I'll show you this from another angle here, is that when I was putting this up, my original plan with the chain, my original hook, the way I was going to hook it to my light, it was off center, just a hair off. And let me show you what I had done here. So this hook, you can see that I straightened it. I had it going through a hole, two holes that were what I thought was centered. Brought it through the top board, and then I bent this back over to make it flat. And so it ran. This ran parallel with the long way of the length of the light. But when I hooked my chain to this, it was tilted just ever so slightly. Perfectly level the long way, but tilted the other way. So what I ended up doing was making a piece in here that out of a dowel that the chain comes down and can slide along to the point where it gets level, and then I can screw it down tight to keep it from moving. So let me show you that here. So now we're looking at that dowel, and all I did was drill a flat spot on each side, each end of it, and then a through hole, and then that gave me the ability now to slide the chain along the dowel until I got it perfectly centered. So I have one on each end, and that worked out pretty well. Let me see if I can adjust this. Hang on. There, that might be better. So now you can see what I'm talking about here, I think, a little better. So then once I got this centered, I drew down these bolts, or these wood screws, into the piece of plywood until it was tight and this could no longer move. So one on